Good evening, children. Then I am going to teach you about column graph. Column graphs, right? So columns means like this way boxes, like this way boxes we call columns. So that's why we call such a graph column graph. So for this column graph, the common name used is bar graph. The common name is bar graph, but we can draw bars like this way, like in horizontal way. I have used vertical bar graph for this one. So column graph or vertical bar graph. So to draw a column graph or vertical bar graph, for that also you need a data table. You need a data table. So here is the data table. Same data table I have used. These are the categories that about the travel of students to school. Here given the number of students, right? So when we draw a column graph, you need to remember there are two lines here. Using arrowhead, I have drawn two lines. This line is vertical. This is a vertical line, which is we call y-axis. In grade 10, grade 11, in grade 9, when you draw the graphs, you will learn more about these things. But remember, this vertical line we call y-axis. Okay, children? And the horizontal line we call x-axis, right? So for the x-axis, I have used the categories. That means the mode of travel of the students to school. And for the y-axis, I have used the frequency or the numbers of students I have taken onto the y-axis. Here the 0. And onto the horizontal axis, I have used these modes of travel of students to school or categories. And when you draw a column graph or vertical bar graph, you need to remember, if you are going to draw bars, then when you draw bars for each category, you need to draw the uh, same uh, area bars you need to draw. The same size boxes or the bars you need to draw. And if you are going to keep gap, if you are going to keep a gap between the categories, that need to remember that for that gap also you need to keep a same size gap. Okay, that is very important. So I am going to draw the column graph or bar graph. So for car, that the first category is car. So 10 students. Then here I have gone by 2, 4, 6 like that. Then we'll see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Here 10 students represent. So this is 10 students for the car category. And I like to keep that gap between the two categories. So bus 7 students come to school by bus. Then here for bus 7 students. Then 2, 4, 6. Then here in the middle point is the 7. So this is the bar that given for the students who come using bus. And for walk-in students 3. Then 2 is here, so between the 2 and for the middle point represent 3. Then walk-in students. Then the students who come on bikes 5 students. Then I use the same gap. Then 4 students, 5 means here the middle. Then 4 by. Okay, the students who come by school van 12 students, then I keep the same gap, and here the school van representing bus, so 12 students here come. Okay children, now I have finished the drawing of bar graph or vertical bar graph or column graph. So any person who look at this column graph can easily understand the data. That means this graph interpret data. This graph interpret data, and on the other hand we use data or data table to draw a column graph, and easily anybody can understand the information represented by this column graph. So anyone who come and look at this one easily can understand. Most of the students come to school using school van. Most of the students come to school by school van. And if we compare that the students who walk to school and the students who use bikes, what is the difference between these two categories? So the difference between two categories is bike 5, here 5, and walk 3. There are two more students for bike. There are two more students for bike using students, right? Like that you can interpret data by reading this column graph. So it is easy to understand and it is attracted, and easily you can compare the data using this column graph. And remember, keep a same gap between the bars and use the same the size bars to represent every categories. So children, I think you have learned well. So I will come with another type of graph. Goodbye children.